Now let me describe this heresy of a calendar that is called a holy calendar. Remember, there's only one sacred calendar of God, the calculated Hebrew calendar. That's what God gave. Only He knows how to figure the time and make it right, correct? He created the heavens and the earth. He's the one who did all of the astronomical changes that caused the Earth's orbit to lengthen and the moon's orbit to shrink. So only God can tell us exactly when these things can be. Now, here's the confusion of men that have come up with some doctrines which are absolutely crazy. First one, I'll just mention. Some people believe that the full moon is the new moon. That has never been. Even the world knows the difference. And if you don't know the difference between that, then you're off in la-la land. And you think you're going to please God with that? Or are you going to go before God and say, God, I'm telling you the full moon is the new moon? Really? Likewise, there's another calendar out there called the Lunar Sabbath calendar, which is insanity. Now, what do we mean, lunar Sabbath calendar? Here's what they do, and I'll show you, and you can follow along with the printout that's enclosed with the material here. They say this: there's no more 7-day cycle continuously as we have understood it. Rather, you wait for the new moon, and when you see the new moon, now that's contrary to how we started out in counting the days and showing that the 7 days was always continuous. You find the new moon. Now remember, the new moon is not visible around the world on the same day. It's different in different locations. So there you will have some off time. So they say, when you find the new moon, that is day 1. Then you count 7 days, and that is the Sabbath day. Now let's show this graphically so you can see and look at your chart what this does to the weekly Sabbath. Now here's the first chart I want you to see. You will see that right off we have the new moon, and this is December 2010. Okay? They count that as day 1. Then they go 7 days, and in this sequence, they end up on the Sabbath in the right place. However, the moon's circuit or orbit is not 28 days. It is 29 and a half days. Therefore, they end up with days that they don't count. So when they come to the end of 28 days, let's see what happens in the next month. Now look what happens when you come to the 28 days. You have a day that is not counted. You have Sunday that is not counted and Monday that is not counted. Then you have the new moon on Tuesday. Now what they do then is count another 7 days, and look what happens to the Sabbath. Sabbath comes on Monday. Won't that be handy where you work? Come up to your boss and say, well, in December I kept the Sabbath on the Sabbath, but now in January I'm going to keep it on Monday. I need every Monday off for 4 Mondays in a row. Really? See, they don't count 2 days. They're losing time. This is absolutely insane. Now let's look at what happens the next month. Now observe again the third month here. You will see they have 2 days that are not counted, all right? And the new moon is on Thursday. So they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, Sabbath's on a Wednesday. Hey, Mr. Boss, I got to have Wednesday off this month. Really? Yes, it's my Sabbath. How do you figure? Well, we've got an inspired calendar. The Luni-Solar, the lunar Sabbath calendar. So then you have Sabbath again on a Wednesday. Now, if that were not bad enough, let's look at another version on it, because you see, men like to outrighteous one another. So even though they have the same scheme as looking for the new moon, let's see what this second group does. So we will change the chart to a different one. Now look at this one. This one is even worse. December 2010, new moon, but that day is not counted, and you don't work on that day either. And you start counting beginning with the next day. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Sabbath is on a Sunday. Hooray! Then you come to the next month. Let's take a look at what happens then. Now let's see how they handled the 2 days that they don't count. Let's look at it here. All right? You come to January 3rd, and that's a day that's not counted. And then January 4th is a new moon day, which is not counted, and you don't work either one of those days either. So, dear boss, I've got to have lots of time off to keep this. And I'll be here some weeks 3 days, some weeks 5 days, some weeks 4 days, some weeks 2 days. But I want a full week's work pay. Okay? Now notice what happens when you count this one. So Sabbath is on a Tuesday. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 Sabbaths. And let's look what happens with the next month. Now look at February. All right? February 1st is a Sabbath on a Tuesday. Wednesday is not counted. Oh, you can't work on that day either. You don't count it. But pay me, boss. Pay me. Pay me. New moon, not counted. No work day. Then you go, Friday is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, Sabbath is now on a Thursday. Aren't we righteous? We know more than God. Now, there are some people in the churches of God that believe this nonsense. Now, with these charts that are included in this mailing, you can follow along and see the insanity of this kind of calculation for the Sabbath. Now, this has got to be a masterpiece of Satan the devil. That if those who are in the churches of God are so ignorant and are so self-righteous and so locked in to following a man that they would believe this ridiculous kind of calendar figuring for the Sabbath, they indeed are bordering on insanity. This is not of God, but people believe it and follow it. So I wanted to demonstrate it to you with these charts. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. So remember, the calculated Hebrew calendar is what God gave, is what the priests and Levites within the Jewish community have preserved, And it is correct, it is accurate, with all the rules, with all the postponements, with everything about it, because God gave it. And it is the most accurate calendar for keeping the Sabbath and holy days of any device of men. So I hope that helps answer the question. Now, if you really want to get yourself deeply involved in it, we'll send you all the calendar material. If you don't want to get deeply involved in it, we will always send you the calendar which coordinates the holy days on the Roman calendar, so you will know when to keep them. But for those who want it, we'll send it to you. There are now 5 videos that go with this. There's a stack of material this high. We have the book on how to calculate it longhand. We have the CD, which has the digitized calculation of the days, and you can go forward and backward on that. So we'll go ahead and end it here for today, and I hope this has been helpful for you.